bubble floated in front of Toothless, and just as it was about to drift away, Pouncer caught it with a swift puff of air, sending the bubble floating off into the distance. As Pouncer watched, it noticed its father, Toothless, staring absent-mindedly at a drawing. Curious, Pouncer flew closer, wanting to know what Toothless was up to. Meanwhile, Zephyr and Snowdrop came tumbling over, playing and laughing as they joined in. Mischievously, they added wings to the figures drawn in the sand. Toothless, not happy with the changes, quickly erased the wings and drew his own symbol, a shape that represented himself and connected all the figures with a line. The picture was a silent expression of his longing for Hiccup. However, Light Fury mistakenly thought Toothless had drawn the image for her. Feeling a little hurt, she turned and walked away. Toothless, realizing his mistake, quickly went to comfort his mate. Light Fury, softening, forgave him, but what they didn't expect was the deep curiosity their children had for Hiccup. One evening, Pouncer woke up his two brothers, Zephyr and Snowdrop, mischievously teasing them before getting serious. The three of them, sitting in front of Hiccup's portrait, silently agreed to embark on a mission to find the person who their father thought about day and night. In the dead of night, Light Fury suddenly awoke, sleepily looking around, but unable to find her children. When she saw that they were still missing, both she and Toothless immediately flew off to search for them. At dawn, the three little dragons finally made it to Berk. They wiped their paws and, listening intently, heard voices from afar. They crept closer and discovered Gobber tearfully talking to Hiccup, lamenting the loss of Stoic. The young dragons quietly slipped through a hole in the wall and, lifting a wooden plank, were startled to see Toothless standing there. The sight made them quickly scramble back underneath the plank. Curious, they peeked out again and, to their surprise, saw Hiccup. They immediately recognized him as the one Toothless had drawn. Pouncer was about to approach Hiccup and say hello when his two brothers quickly pulled him back. Fearing they had been spotted, they quickly fled, but along the way, they encountered a strange creature covered in bells, which made them jump in fright. To their surprise, the creature seemed even more frightened than they were, trembling at their presence. After a moment of courage, the three little dragons flew around the strange creature and perched on a cliff, watching Hiccup from afar. Suddenly, Zephyr sensed something was wrong. She turned back and nudged Pouncer, who then nudged Snowdrop. The three of them quickly realized that Toothless and Light Fury were fast approaching. In a panic, they pointed fingers at each other, blaming one another for being the mastermind behind their little adventure. Toothless and Light Fury, not pleased with their little ones sneaking off, let out a furious roar. The three young dragons huddled together, scared and trembling. Just then, they heard the sound of music from the distance. The unexpected melody filled the air, and the entire family, both surprised and intrigued, turned toward the source of the sound, unaware of what awaited them. It had been 5 years since Toothless and Hiccup last parted ways. This also meant that dragons had not been seen by humans for 5 years. In those 5 years, a lot had changed. Hiccup's friends had grown older, Toothless had 3 children, and Hiccup now had a son and a daughter of his own. The children, who had never seen a dragon, could only read about them in books, but the books were old and often told stories about dragons as enemies of mankind. While Hiccup missed Toothless, he also found himself pondering how to improve the children's first impressions of dragons. The next day, Hiccup and Astrid went to see Gobber to discuss this issue. Gobber was grieving that the children had forgotten about their late leader, Stoic. Together, they hatched an idea to put on a performance that would leave a lasting impression on the children about dragons and Stoic. Gobber pulled out an old script for a previous performance, which reminded Hiccup of the time Stoic had organized a play about battling dragons when Hiccup was younger. Inspired, Hiccup decided to write a new script. Gobber went to Hiccup's workshop, where he saw Hiccup quickly putting together a steel model of Toothless. Gobber's idea was to tell more of Stoic's story, so the two decided to begin casting for the play. When the actor for the young Hiccup showed up, Hiccup was disappointed, as the actor seemed nothing like him. He considered replacing the actor, but Gobber convinced him to keep him. Then, when the actor for Stoic arrived, his voice was so eerily similar to Stoic's that everyone was stunned. Hiccup wanted to keep the actor, but Gobber insisted on playing Stoic himself, as he had always admired the character. Reluctantly, Hiccup gave in. He would have to wear the steel Toothless costume and perform as Toothless himself. The performance began, with actors, lighting, and prompters all taking their places. As the actors delivered their lines, Hiccup still couldn't accept playing Toothless, but Astrid quickly closed the steel Toothless shell over him. Fishlegs and his wife used ropes to hoist the model Toothless up, and with the help of wires, the steel Toothless flew over the stage, flapping its wings just like the real Toothless. The young dragons watching the performance were convinced that this was their father. During the performance, Gobber became so emotional, missing Stoic, that he started crying uncontrollably. He tried to wipe his nose with the curtain, but in doing so, he accidentally started a fire. The flames crept up the ropes. In his panic, Fish Legs, who was managing the ropes, forgot that Hiccup was still attached to them. The fire grew rapidly, and the steel Toothless model, out of control, fell from the sky. It seemed that the machine had malfunctioned, and Toothless had fallen off the stage. Chaos ensued as the mechanical Toothless began to wander, spewing fire. As Hiccup was about to fall off the cliff, Toothless appeared, flying out from the distance and saving him mid-air. Due to the malfunction, Hiccup couldn't continue with the performance, but Toothless worked with Gobber to finish the show. When Hiccup's head was placed in Gobber's palm, the crowd went wild. They cheered for the beautiful moment of man and dragon coexisting peacefully. After the performance, Hiccup's daughter went backstage to find her father, but to her shock, she encountered Toothless, the dragon she had only seen in books. Terrified at first, she fought her fear and greeted Toothless. Toothless sniffed her, smiled, and flew away. Seeing a real dragon made Hiccup's daughter extremely happy. On the way home, she and her brother chatted excitedly about the performance. Seeing this, Hiccup felt deeply grateful to Gobber. Whether Stoic or Hiccup played the lead role, the most important thing was passing on the message to the next generation that humans and dragons could live in peace. With smiles on their faces, everyone went home, happy to have shared such a special moment.